Hello guys and girls, this is What's What Ifs here, and this is going to be part 1 of what if female Deku was a vigilante. And so, in the last part we left off with, Izumi finally, joining up with Stain, or more accurately, she was saved by Stain, and now Stain offered, to train her. And also, I actually forgot to mention this in the last part, but yeah, the whole reason why Izumi knows about the whole, fake hero ideology and all that is because, yeah, let's just say that Stain has been a lot more active, so yeah, he was in the news a lot more. And also, essentially, I'm going to be adding a new character today, but he's gonna come a bit later on. So yeah, now then, we're going to continue. As we start where we left off, with Stain and Izumi leaving the cave, with Izumi having her AK-12 now on her back, and, her pistol on her holster, and along with all of her gadgets, while Stain has his swords, and yeah, as after that they make their way to, the forest. Even deeper to it, that is. And yeah, as they're walking through, they actually hear something. That something being a helicopter. It didn't take them long to realize that was a police helicopter, with Stain asking Izumi, after you? With Izumi replying, probably. And then Stain simply said that they need to get a move on. And that's what she does, or that's what they do. And now, after about 2 hours of, walking, or let's say, like a jogging all the way to their destination, they finally arrive, with Izumi asking what exactly are they doing in the middle of a, simply putting it, not in the middle of, but rather at the edge of a lake. That's when Stain simply, does something to a nearby tree. After that, the entire lake disappears. Or, not disappears, but rather several, ice columns start coming out of the lake, with Izumi being quite confused, and then after that, she can see something rising from the very, middle of the lake. That something was, a human. Now, she was, a bit older than Izumi, 21 years old, and yeah. Oh, just me, guys. Sorry about that, guys, but anyways, yeah. The woman, which had just, simply used her quirk to make a clear path to, for Stain and Izumi to get to her, is, right here in this picture. As Stain simply states, took you a while, Nyuko. And with Nyuko simply responding, oh, shut up. And yes, this is going to be one of the 2 new characters I'm going to introduce. Now, like you guys and gals heard, this is Nyuko, and her quirk is ice. But, simply putting it, she can only create ice, and that's it. But her ice and her quirk itself is, let's simply say that it's several times stronger than Todoroki's. So yeah, essentially imagine Dabi's fire, but now convert that fire into ice. That's how much power she has. So yeah, she's rather strong. But now, after that little, introduction, not even introduction, as Stain simply says to Izumi this: Izumi, Nuko, Nuko, Izumi, okay, get us down there. With Izumi simply asking, what do you mean down there? And yeah, just as she says that, the ice begins to move, with Izumi being a bit surprised, as, yeah, they're currently going under the lake. And they're currently in a protective barrier of ice. And yeah, as they make their way down there, they're not in the lake anymore, they're actually beneath the lake. And yeah, after about several minutes of simply going down, because it does go rather slowly, they finally arrive, as Izumi, simply putting it, sees a whole training area. Because, yeah, simply putting it, for all of you guys and gals who are a bit curious, Stain in this one has had a lot more support than in the anime, and he also took to training quite a few more people, although both Toga and Dabi aren't currently here. Or well, Toga isn't currently here, because yes, Toga is also another one of his, shall we say, disciples. Yep. And well, simply putting it, this facility, which Stain is essentially the owner of, is a training area where Stain trains all of his disciples. And currently he only has a couple, with, well, Niuko here not being one of them. She's just an old friend of Stain who also has the same sort of view on heroes as he does. And also one more thing, Niuko is, even though she looks quite young in this picture, she is actually 36 years old. So yeah. And now, after a couple of minutes of, well, simply being in the elevator or in the magic which is going down, they finally stop. And right as the ice disappears, somebody else comes up to them, who immediately greets, well, Stain. That someone being, Kage. And yes, this right here is going to be Kage. He's also going to be the ship with Izumi. And now, this is someone which I personally made. Anyways, his quirk is image creation. Essentially what that does is that he can create, well, or manipulate the vision of others. So, let's say that him, Izumi, and two other, shall we say, villains are, well, fighting. Kage can use his quirk to make the villains believe that Izumi is right in front of them, with both of them attacking each other. So yeah, that's what his quirk does. At least at this stage. But yeah, enough about that. And also, yes, he is the second, well, character, or at least named character, who's also important to the story. And well, yeah, simply putting it, as after the ice disappears, Kage simply comes over and then greets, well, Stain, by using, well, these words. Welcome back, Master Stain. Because yeah, Kage is 17 years old, so 2 years older than Izumi, but hey, what can you do? And well, simply putting it, Stain tells Izumi to follow her, while telling Ryuko to go ahead and deal with, well, the other students. Now then, as Stain and Izumi are walking, Stain explains to Izumi what exactly this place is, and he also explains that he's going to be training her here, and also that she's the only quirkless one here. So yeah. or at least the only quirkless one currently here. Because, yeah, simply putting it, Stain has actually been training 3 of his students, and those 3 students are, simply putting it, all quirkless. Or at least those 3. The other ones have quirks. But yeah, enough about that. As Stain simply tells Izumi to go ahead and, well, pick one of the rooms. Because, yeah, this is quite a large facility, or, well, yeah, it's quite large. It can accommodate 100 or so people, it has both living rooms, and, well, everything you really need. Hell, it even has an Olympic-sized pool, so yeah. And, well, after that, Izumi simply goes ahead and goes to the room which Stain had assigned her. And, well, luckily for her, she's alone. She doesn't have a roommate, sadly. But hey, what can you do? Although her room is right across of Kage's, as the two of them actually meet, right after Izumi had put all of her stuff in her room. And well, Izumi goes ahead and strikes up a conversation with Kage. And well, simply putting it, Izumi asks him, so what exactly do you do here? With Kage responding, we train. That's it. With Izumi simply asking, anything else? Or, no, we just train to become, well, people who are going to make the world realize what heroes truly are. With Izumi simply looking at him and then, well, stating, you're a bit of a fanatic, aren't you? With Kage simply responding, I guess you could call me that. I am one of the more devoted followers of Stain, but I'm not the most devoted. That would be Toga. With Izumi simply asking, Toga? Right. If she asks you for your blood, do not give her. With Izumi being a bit, both confused and a bit scared. What do you mean ask for my blood? If she asks for your blood, don't give her any. With Izumi simply saying, okay, and then going to the training grounds. As they're waiting for her well, both Stain and Nuko. As currently Nuko is training several of the other, well, disciples, and well, yeah, Stain has, let's just say, taken a bit of a liking to Izumi. Not that much, it's quite literally only that he wants to see what she can do, but he thinks that she can do quite a lot, so yeah. After that, Stain simply tells Izumi to come at him. And well, she does, although she comes at him rather sloppily, because she wasn't, well, trained in any sort of martial arts or how to wield a sword. So Stain is able to beat her rather quickly. But yeah, after that, Stain simply tells her that her training partner is going to be... Kage, you're her training partner. With Kage simply responding, yes, sensei, or yes, master, whatever you guys prefer. But yeah, as at that point Stain simply says that he has something to do, with him going back to his own room, which is essentially both a room and the office. But yeah, now with both Izumi and Kage sparring, they continue to do that until, well, it's night. Or at least, let's say 10 p.m. After that, both of them go ahead and, well, go to sleep. With Kage remarking that Izumi is both uncoordinated and extremely sloppy. With Izumi really not being able to say anything because she is exactly that. But that's when Kage tells her that they're going to be having marksmanship. well, training tomorrow, with Izumi simply looking at him with her eyes glowing. And at that point, Kage simply asks, what's with your eyes? Aren't you supposed to be quirkless? With Izumi simply saying, oh, I am quirkless, but my eyes are a bit personal. So, with Kage simply saying, understandable. Well, good night. With Izumi also telling to him, good night. And well, as both of them go to sleep, we move on to, well, Izumi's family. Or, more accurately, we move on to Arya, who is still worried sick about her sister. Because yeah, Arya is the only part of her family who truly loved and cared about Izumi. But currently she's nowhere to be found and she's being tracked by both the heroes and the police. So yeah, she's extremely worried. And all while she's currently stomping around, essentially in a circle, trying to think of any sort of way of how to get Izumi out of the situation, but first she has to find her. She simply hears her father talking with the police and the heroes. With the police being just some random police, but the heroes are actually, well, Eraserhead and, well, the pro hero Gunhead. That being the guy who, I believe, was at the when the sludge villain attacked. He was the one who was berating Deku for getting involved. So yeah. But anyways, his Gunhead and Eraserhead are simply listening to, well, Hisashi talk. With Hisashi simply telling them that he really doesn't care what they do to his daughter, but that they should probably get her into a prison because she did kill a policeman, did she not? With the Eraserhead simply looking at Hisashi a bit disappointed. But yeah. After that, we move on to now Stain and Nyuko simply, well, talking in Stain's office. As Nyuko asks Stain, so, what do you think about a new recruit? You don't usually, well, at least not on the first day of training, you don't fight against them yourself. With, well, Stain simply saying, the way she fights, it's extremely sloppy, but she has potential. Quite a bit of potential, actually. I simply want to, well, further expand on her already known talents, which are marksmanship and, I would say, hand-to-hand combat. Even though she is rather awful at it now, she's a quick learner. With Nyuko simply saying, alright, but you won't be sending her on missions, at least not yet, right? With Stain simply saying, I'll give her 5 months worth of training, and that after 5 months she's going to come with me on one of my, well, runs, as Stain calls them, with Nyuko simply responding, fine, but I do hope that you know what you're doing. With Stain simply responding, did I ever not properly train one of my students? That's when Nyuko simply grins and, well, says, the blood-sucking girl? With Stain simply at that point being, hey, I trained her well. I don't care that she takes blood of the heroes she kills. That isn't my forte. With Nyuko simply responding, well, if nothing else, she is quite skilled. And then, well, simply says that, alright, I'm going to go to bed now. Good night, Stain. with Stain also saying goodnight to, well, Ryuko. And after that little, well, brief explanation of what's currently going on with Hisashi, or Izumi's family, and Stain and Ryuko, the next day comes around, right about at 7 a.m. And at that point, the alarm goes off. And the alarm, I don't mean like an actual panic, like red alarm going off. It's just an alarm to wake them up. With Izumi then gets simply changed and goes out to, well, the training area, where she sees several other students along with Kage. And she goes ahead and stands next to Kage, because he is technically her only friend, at least by her standards. Although Kage is like, she's a comrade, or a fellow student. That's Kage's current view of her. But yeah, after essentially waiting for 10 minutes for Stain to come, Stain, well, finally gets there. And that's when he simply puts down a crate, with all the students simply asking what exactly is inside of that, as Stain opens it up and reveals, well, or rather, after he opens it up, several birds fly out of it, extremely fast ones. And what's left in the box is a bunch of, well, pistols. That's when Stain tells all of them to take one of the pistols and to try and shoot one of the birds. Just one per each one of them. And at that point, the disciples, or well, his students, which were there, are all a bit confused, shall we say, because they're learning how to shoot guns now, but they have their quirks. And that's when Stain simply explains that there are some heroes like Eraserhead, which are capable of erasing your quirks. On top of that, there is quite a few quirk dampeners, or, well, yeah, quirk dampeners, I believe that's what they call, with Stain simply saying that if any of them are used, you're going to need to learn how to fight with both your hands, swords, and guns, with all of them understanding, and with each of them picks up a pistol. Now, most of them aren't exactly good at it, but Kage is somewhat acceptable, with him being a bit of, with simply putting it, Kage is talented, with him actually being a prodigy in sword combat, although in marksmanship, or yeah, he isn't that good, he's about average. While Izumi is a prodigy in both, well, wielding a sword, using knives, throwing knives. She's a prodigy with her intelligence, and she's also a prodigy in marksmanship. With that being said, as soon as she takes her pistol, she quickly turns around and shoots one of the birds right in the head. And yeah, with Stain actually, well, simply making a smirk, with all of the other ones simply looking at the dead bird, then at Izumi, then at the bird, then back at Izumi. And after that, all of them renew their efforts 10 times, well, or all of them renew their, well, how do you say it again? Simply, they renew their will to do that by 10 times, as all of them try and start to shoot at the birds. And yeah, at that moment Stain simply tells Midoriya, or Izuku, that is Izumi, to come over. Now, as she does, Stain actually, well, tells her to follow him, as she does. And that's when she actually, well, sees Ryuko. And Ryuko then directs her to, well, her own workshop, with, simply putting it, Izumi being ecstatic, as she sees a bunch of advanced tech, several computer screens, and simply putting it, rather powerful computer, or essentially being an entire server, and essentially everything she needs. Several 3D printers, metal, bullets, guns, everything she really needs to make her own gadgets, and well, even some of her own specialized equipment, shall we say. And yeah, with that being said, she actually goes ahead and, well, almost hugs Stain, but she doesn't. She keeps her composure and simply says, "Thank you, Master," with Stain simply letting out another grin. With him then simply leaving and telling Izumi that she's going to be working here, right after she ends with her training session. And yeah, with Izumi actually being completely alright with this, because she considers making and crafting more gadgets absolutely fun. And yeah, that's what happened. For the next 2 months, every single time she ends with her training session, with either Stain or Kage, she simply goes ahead, well, to the workshop, making quite a few other things. And yeah, currently in development, she is creating, well, a drone. Now, currently that drone isn't finished, but when it will be finished, it's going to have several useful utilities, with the main one being something which will start to be impossible, although she still has to test it. Now, that something would be a quirk dampener. And yeah, usually how these quirk dampeners work is they're either in a form of a, essentially, collar, which goes around a quirk user's head, or in form of, well, handcuffs. But this type, which Izumi had just made, is essentially a sensor, which is put on her drone, which then disables all quirks in a radius. Or well, it doesn't exactly cancel them or completely erase them, it's rather that those quirks become quite a bit weaker. So yeah, essentially imagine it like this. If Dabi was there, instead of him being able to cast blue flames or, well, shoot out blue flames, his flames would be like the flames when, let's say on a stove. Although that is the hotness, or how hot the flames are, would be like a stove. So yeah, it sort of dampens a quirk quite a lot. Although it doesn't work on, well, one for all. Because, yeah. That is, wait, no. Crap. Sorry, guys. It doesn't work on one for all, simply because, well, that technically is several quirks, and the sensor can't exactly dampen all of them at once. So, yeah. But what I mean by that is that it does affect one for all, but, well, not a lot. At most, All Might can't use, or All Might's limit goes from 100% to, I would say, 91 or 94%. So yeah, the change isn't actually that a lot, but hey, what can you do? But at this point, with Izumi's main project was that drone, but she had also created several other things, with one of them being with her upgrading her eyes. So essentially, she can assess the situation much faster than anyone else, because as she directly upgraded her eyes, her sensor array, which was on them, also became much more advanced. So yeah, she can technically now predict the movements of what people are going to do. She also has both X-ray, night vision, thermal vision. She can see radio waves on it and all that good stuff. The heat temp, that is the... She also has sort of like a heart monitor on it, so she can see how someone's doing. So her eyes are quite useful. But on top of that, she also created, well, quite a few other gadgets. Some of them being extremely small spy cameras, which can be, well, thrown anywhere she really wants it to. Or she can make them fly. Yep. Essentially, if any of you guys have ever played Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, or well, no, Modern Warfare, there is no Advanced Warfare, sorry about that guys, essentially it's those flies, which the main character has, which can fly around and essentially act like a mini drone. That's what Izumi had made. 20 of them actually. And yeah, on top of that, she had created quite a few different types of bullets. Incendiary, explosive, armor piercing, electric, and all that good stuff. Along with that, she also created quite a few of, well, that is, she created 2 knives and, well, 1 katana for herself. And on top of that, she had also gotten extremely fit. Even though it was only in 2 months, simply putting it, her body essentially went from someone who trains a little, like every single day, to essentially a proper bodybuilder, or somewhat at the level of a bodybuilder. So yeah, simply putting it, she has a 6-pack, along with quite a few muscles on her. But yeah, after that little explanation, we get back to the what if. As Izumi is currently in her workshop, she gets a knock on the door. As she opens the door, she immediately dodges as 2 knives get tossed at her. That's when she activates all of her eyes, as she essentially sees, well, a blonde girl, yet again launching a knife at her. With Izumi dodging the knife, she turns around and sees another knife, although this time the girl who was currently attacking her is holding it tight and is going for Izumi's neck. At this point, Izumi simply goes ahead and turns on her glove, which is yet again another one of her gadgets. Simply putting it, this glove sort of works like an energy beam, although, yeah, it doesn't technically shoot out energy, it shoots out, well, lightning, which can incapacitate others. And that's exactly what she does, as she essentially dodges out of the way of the knife and then grabs this girl's hand and then lets out a shock, with the girl actually now falling to the ground, still conscious but not being able to move for a while. And if you guys didn't noticed already, this girl is the one and only Toga. And yeah, at that point, Stain and Kage also come around, because yeah, Izumi sort of is the main one who takes care of all their equipment and makes extra equipment for them. And yeah, the reason why Kage is here is because, well, as you guys can see here, he was actually needing, or well, he was supposed to go on his mission with Stain. And for that, he would need well, new armor along with a new mask. And he asked Izumi to make it for him. And yeah, Izumi was currently in the process of making it. And simply, if any of you guys are wondering how exactly that his armor looks like, essentially imagine like an assassin's attire in fantasy games, although underneath all of that cloth and the cloak, imagine there being extremely advanced compact armor, which is extremely light, flexible, but also durable. That's what she's currently making for him, along with his mask, which is essentially a hybrid of the standard masks in Japan, those being the, well, I believe they're called Oni masks, with like the Oni faces on them. But yeah, it has a filter on it for essentially if somebody throws gas, he can breathe through it. It also has night vision and all that, all the good stuff. But yeah, the reason why Stain is there is, well, he simply needed also something from Izumi. That something being a new katana. But yeah, as they go there, they simply, well, see Toga on the ground, simply giggling to herself, with Izumi simply asking both of them, what the hell's wrong with her? As Stain simply, well, apologizes. Sorry about that. This is Toga, you know, one of my disciples who is currently out and who was supposed to be out and doing missions, but I presume that she had already, with Toga then simply jumping in and saying, I killed everyone. With Stain simply letting out a sigh, because yeah, Toga's job was to kill 3 heroes, and yeah, she killed them along with draining blood and torturing. So yeah. And well, after that, Toga simply properly introduces herself to Izumi, with Izumi doing the same. And yeah, after that, Toga simply tells all 4 of them, all 3 of them, that she's simply gonna go ahead and go rest in her room. And yeah, after that, Kage asks Izumi if she's alright, with Izumi simply saying, yeah, I'm alright, it wasn't that much of a fight anyway. And that's when Kage simply asks if his armor is ready, as Izumi tells him that... Sorry about the guys. As Izumi tells him that it's not ready yet. It's going to take at least 2 more weeks, at least, to make it. With Kage simply telling her, alright. Actually, wait, did you make the chest portion along with the helmet? With Izumi saying, yeah, why? Alright, there's no need. I'm going on the mission, well, tomorrow, so yeah. It's best to have some sort of protection than nothing. But yeah, after that, Izumi simply tells him, nope, alright, here's your mask. With Kage taking it and trying it on, with him simply saying, it fits perfectly. With Izumi, well, being happy. And that's when Stain simply comes along and asks her to, well, upgrade his katana. So yeah, that's what Izumi simply goes ahead and starts doing. And now, guys and gals, I hope that you enjoyed part 1 of what if, well, female Deku was a vigilante. And now, judging by the time of where I currently am, I hope all of you have a wonderful night.